Hi, everyone. Welcome to the PoliticAL update with me, Alexandra Acker-Lyons. I pay attention to the political news so you don't have to. This is the advice I give my millionaire clients, and you get it for free. It is Friday, May 22nd. Happy almost Memorial Day. Okay, lots going on. Candidate news. We had some actual primaries. Voters are voting. In Georgia, Keisha Lance Bottoms won the Democratic primary outright with 56% of the vote in a four-way plus race, avoiding a runoff. I think that shows a lot of strength heading into the general election. There were several really good candidates running, and she has made some nice gestures to try to win over those folks. We also have Tanya Miller as the Attorney General nominee, and the Secretary of State race on the Democratic side is going to a runoff between two women. So we're going to have lots of women running in Georgia, which is really exciting. We did lose the two Supreme Court races very narrowly. I'm really proud that we tried. It was the first time that we really tried to call attention to these nonpartisan races in Georgia. As someone who was very involved in these campaigns pointed out yesterday, it took us a while in Wisconsin to get voters to pay attention to these races. It's going to take a while to get voters in Georgia to pay attention to these races. So definitely not money misspent. It was a really good effort with really good candidates. On the Republican side, both the governor and Senate races are going to a runoff on June 16th. It's, crazy versus crazier. But I am feeling really good about our chances in Georgia as Democratic turnout in the primary actually exceeded Republican turnout, even though we did not have a competitive Senate primary. So that's great. More amazing news out of Michigan. Mike Duggan has dropped his independent bid for governor, making the path much clearer for wonderful Jocelyn Benson to secure not only that Democratic nomination, she still has a nominal primary challenge, but make the path much clearer for November. Where it will be a more traditional Democrat versus Republican race, likely against John James, congressman backed by Trump. So this is fantastic news. It allows her to consolidate support from labor and from especially some Detroit area voters who might have been with Duggan. The Cook Political Report, as a result, moved this race to lean Democrat. It's Michigan. It's still going to be very close. It's still going to be very expensive. But it's great news. And we love Jocelyn. I also just want to talk a moment about Trump really consolidating his power. And, Thomas Massie and Bill Cassidy both lost their primaries. Donald Trump endorsed Ken Paxton in the Texas Senate race this week. Just totally bonkers. He's now going after Lauren Boebert. I can't believe I'm about to defend Lauren Boebert, but she has been doing the right thing on the Epstein files. So he is just demanding full loyalty, even when it hurts their candidates and their party. Nancy Pelosi used to say, just win, baby. She didn't care if candidates had to bash her in order to win. She knew she just needed them in her caucus, needed their vote, and she'd win them over later, and she did. Donald Trump is taking the opposite approach, and as his poll numbers continue to sink, a new poll came out today showing him at 31% approval. This is just a horrible political strategy because dear leader demands full loyalty. So hopefully that will continue to help us gain. And the New York Times Siena poll came out showing that Democrats have a plus 11 advantage on the generic ballot, and Donald Trump is at 37%. So this is significantly better news for Democrats than in 2018 at a similar time. And we can only hope that these numbers kind of stay where they are. We do have to continue to work on our own brand and in getting voters to not only want to vote for a Democrat because they're not a Republican who's loyal to Trump, but because they want to vote for what we believe in, what our candidates are espousing. So many of our candidates will be able to outperform even a plus 11 generic ballot. I think this just means even more races are in play, and we're going to need every single House seat in order to take back the House with all of the shenanigans and redistricting. And I think we just have to keep tying all of this political corruption and trying to rig the system to all of the financial corruption that we continue to see with this bonkers $1.776 billion slush fund to pay insurrectionists and Trump loyalists and Trump family members and others out of our tax dollars. When I was trying to explain this to my son, even he, a 10-year-old, got it right away. He was like, what? That's our money. We don't want it going to people who broke the law. I was like, bingo, kiddo, bingo. So it is incredibly corrupt. I'm hoping Republicans will start to get a spine. They seem to be kind of standing up to him about the ballroom, thank goodness. But we have to just keep calling it out, and we have to keep talking about this in the context of he's giving your money to his friends instead of helping you. And he is focused on building a ballroom instead of helping you. Okay. The big news this week in Democratic politics was that the DNC released what they call their after action report. I have a lot of things to say about this. First, full disclosure, Paul Rivera, the author of the report, is one of my OG mentors. I first met him back in 1998. He is a wonderful person, incredibly smart, and I very much believe and trust that he is well-intentioned and wanted to do the right thing. Whether or not he should have been the person writing the report is like, it probably should have been like 10 people writing this report, right? But I very much trust him. Ken is kind of throwing him under the bus here and not wanting to take any responsibility. If you look at the report, the annotations are kind of ridiculous. It is clearly a draft. I don't know about you, but when I write a paper, this was a long time ago, I would like go put the footnotes in at the end. So the idea that like it doesn't have the citations and to back up what he's saying, like, yeah, it's a draft. And it seems like Ken didn't care about the process, follow the process. I'm not really sure. But if this is not what Ken wanted, he should have interjected before a 192-page report was written. So that's one piece of it. On the other side, he has an impossible job. And the DNC is a punching bag when we're out of power, and everyone uses it as this vessel to complain about everything. The DNC has one job, and it is to nominate a presidential candidate. And all other things flow from that. So we need a process by which to nominate a presidential candidate, which includes the primary calendar and the convention. Both of those processes are happening full on now. We need to be raising the money to have a war chest in order to help our candidates succeed. That is where I get nervous. And this kind of ties in to 2028 has begun. Do the candidates who are thinking of running have faith in the current leadership? Do they believe that donors will trust them to raise the money that we will need to be competitive? Yes, Kamala raised $1 billion very quickly. Unfortunately, $1 billion is not going to be enough to win a presidential election in 2028. I very much believe in Ken's theory of helping to fund state parties now and helping to build up that infrastructure. Not all state parties are equal in terms of capacity and importance, and yet they're all getting the same amount of money. Don't love that part of it. And I do believe that he's trying his best in a very impossible job. But I just think that people, from normal activisty type people like me to donors to the candidates and their teams have lost faith in the DNC. And that is not a place where we want to be. And I hope it's fixable, but it's going to take some work. So that's where we're at. And my shout out of the week goes to the incredible women of the Reckoning and Reckoning Action. They launched a new effort on Wednesday to help hold people accountable. They are the women who helped bring down Eric Swalwell by coming forward with their own stories, and are now trying to help other women help bring accountability to not only Congress, but C-suites and more, and really help connect the dots in the rise of misogyny, men feeling like they can get away with doing anything, and the policies that we see happening now, things like trying to remove no-fault divorce and domestic violence protections and reproductive rights, and really helping to connect those dots. They're incredibly brave, they're incredibly smart, and I'm really proud to be doing my part to help them and help promote what they're doing. So go check out The Reckoning. All right, happy Memorial Day weekend. Take some time to relax. Bye.